May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Shahril, do you draw any parallel between the non-Muslim in the Pacific Rim and non-Muslim in Western Europe in terms of expanding the Takaful proposition?
There might be some challenges in terms of the acceptance of it, but in terms of the awareness rather. But once you are given it as a proposition, as in terms of business, our experience shows that they look at what is the value to them as a consumer. Once they understand that the value that they can obtain crosses any religious or any faith-based mechanism or faith-based system, then that it becomes a non-issue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, customers are customers. They always look for competitive price, good brand, everything else. But there's something that Takaful can give that conventional cannot give. Of course, there's one is Sharia compliance. On general, we have the surplus sharing, which even appeals to the non-Muslims. They have the ta'awun, the mutuality concept, which also can be accepted by the Muslim and non-Muslims. And there's a transparency. And what we charge as wakalah fee up front, the customer knows. Yeah. So this is also very appealing in today's world of disclosure and transparency. And of course, the fifth one is the benefits in the hereafter. That one for the Muslims can be very, very attractive if we explain it well. Okay, so let me call on the next panelist, Sameeul to give your views on branding.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is my third time here, and quite frankly, every year I come, I learn more and more about the Takaful industry and the passion that there is in the Takaful industry to promote. I won't call it a brand. I share Sohail's perspective in that if we're going to globalize, it's going to be Sharia compliant insurance rather than Takaful as a brand. And it'll be the companies or the practitioners who will be the brands around the world. Before I go on, I'd just like to say that I've brought a basket of Christian bread, which is outside, and or some Jewish lemonade, if you'd like to help yourself, or Buddhist sweets. So if you'd like to help yourself, they're outside. I mean, the message that I'm trying to give you here is that when we say Takaful, and when we talk about globalizing, we're talking about spreading Takaful into the rest of the world. Globalization doesn't just mean Muslims. Globalization is all faiths. It's Muslims, it's Christians, it's Jews, it's all of the faiths as well. And I totally respect Alberto's opinion that we have to use Takaful and its principles when practicing Sharia-compliant insurance. However, as we've seen, I didn't know actually, but I've just realized that Indonesia calls it Sharia-compliant insurance. In Saudi Arabia, where I come from, today we have noise that the Takaful label may be removed due to some discussions with the regulator and some practitioners that we've come across. And there the insurance laws are actually called the cooperative insurance laws. There is no mention of Takaful in Saudi Arabia. So in a country like Saudi Arabia, where people are Muslims, 99% are all Muslims, they're not using the word Takaful. In Indonesia, they're using Sharia. In Iran, they're not using Takaful. And then when we talk about globalization going out across borders into the West, into Europe, into North America, then do we want to be so stringent? Do we maybe want to consider that we like to maybe relabel depending on the jurisdiction that we're in, depending on the needs of the consumer and the behavior of that consumer? I would suggest yes. I would suggest that we look at looking at relabeling the word Takaful, depending on which jurisdiction we go in. Because I think it's important that we have Sharia-compliant products. It's important we have Sharia-compliant insurance products around the world, and how we label them should suit the geographic region that we're in. I've been in the insurance industry for the last 20 years now, and in the Takaful industry for almost 9 years. But I look today at what I do differently in Takaful that I didn't do before. We have pricing issues. We have actuarials working on pricing. We have underwriters doing underwriting. We have policy servicing, doing policy servicing. We have distribution agents selling the policies, or contracts as we call them. The only thing different that we do is that we adhere to Sharia principles in the application of insurance. And that is really the main difference in what I do today as opposed to what I've done before. So the added value of insurance or Islamic insurance is that we are adhering to the Quranic principles, the Sharia principles, to ensure that when Muslims prescribe to or purchase insurance, they purchase in line with Sharia principles. But do we want to keep, I know this is maybe contentious with a lot of people, do we want to keep flying the religion flag all the time, everywhere we go, especially in the West? I come from a very religious background. My grandfather was a great scholar, and I love my religion. I have great faith in my religion. But am I practicing religion or am I practicing insurance? Whenever I see Takaful, I see mosques, pictures of mosques and Quran and Hadith and ayahs and so on. And that will work in the right countries. But will it work when we look at globalization? Will it work in the West? Maybe not. So those are some things that I think we need to reflect on when looking at globalization. I just think there may be a labeling issue that we have to talk about, we have to address, and some people may be resistant to that, but others, I think, would need to look at it if they do want to look at proper globalization or spreading Takaful into the rest of the world. The non-Muslim community is much larger. There's 2 million Muslims in the UK compared to a 50 million population. Why cut ourselves out from the rest of the cake? I think we should bring in everybody and promote Sharia compliant insurance to everybody and label it ethical insurance or whatever works in the respective jurisdictions. Thank you.